I'm in good company when we start talking about snow days. It seems like snow days are glow days. They're all the time. When we start thinking about Georgia weather, that we look for opportunities to close down school and to open up opportunities for ourselves. So I think this is a good time to hear from everybody. Nitra, Akithia, Patrice, around what do y'all want to gain from being here today? Or what do you think something that you want to explore? So we'll start with Patrice.
I don't think they came ready to be put on, ready to speak. I think it's in the chat.
Yeah, feel free to express yourself via chat as well. So I put it in the chat box. Well, I know what I want to learn today.
What do you want to learn today, Jonathan?
I want to learn the outcome of the upcoming election, but I don't want to go there just yet.
I was about to say,
I am nervous.
is that part of the F.L.O.W
Nikki
model?
maybe or Nikki hey, what is this recorded? This is recorded.
This is being recorded, yes.
This is being
Yes.
recorded.
It will need to be edited.
Yes.
Once that PowerPoint comes up.
I guess I should clarify. By the election, I mean the November election. I'm not as concerned about the one. Well, actually, was it New Hampshire's this evening, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not as concerned about the primaries. I'm a little more concerned about November.
So I will tell you the thing that stands out to me from an executive women's leadership standpoint is the behavior of the front runner on the Republican side, Nikki Haley. It's interesting to see how it's almost the antithesis of supportive behavior that you would expect when you are connecting with a colleague, regardless of gender. I feel like it goes against everything that you might think from a executive women's leadership standpoint of supportive, mutually beneficial. We're going to focus on the issues and the facts and not personality and all these other things. And I'm not seeing that. Really not seeing that. And I'm seeing basically catfighting. I'm seeing poking. I'm seeing a lot of other behaviors that are concerning. And when we look at the literature, we look at the literature and we see that those behaviors also show up. When we look at how women advance, because Carly Fiorina was one of the first women to run for president. We look at how she was regarded and what she had to endure. It had nothing to really do with her pedigree and her legacy, but she had to defend herself just from being a woman.
That's an interesting point. Yeah. And what differentiates the, positive female leadership characteristics from the positive, male characteristics. And there's a theory, I don't know how much you talk about this, Librito or Neil, that the higher up you go, the more those two positive characteristics of either sex should actually start to meld a little bit. In other words, you would expect men to be more empathetic at the higher levels. You would expect, women to have be more confident and assertive the higher up you go. So you start to see kind of like the executives at the top start taking on the characteristics of, the opposite sex. I don't know if you've ever seen that. That's
in theory, but not necessarily in truth. So when it plays out in real life, women still have to contend with having to have it all together. And all together is always relative to context and situation. So you can be so together
Mhm.
that you are not connecting with your peers, your colleagues, or being able to be really impactful because it's like you missed the mark. You can be too put together, too made up.
Right.
Other ways, you can be so understated that you don't have gravitas. So as women, we are always trying to pick and choose and read the situation, scan the environment, understand where we fit, but it really is the crux and what we're going to talk about tonight, situational leadership. We are looking at a
Yeah.
situation at a time and how we're going to move, how we're going to act, how we will assert ourselves or not. Right now, I'm in St. Louis, and I feel pretty good in St. Louis. But listening to the context, listening to the people that are here, they share with me things that I should be cautious about, things that I should note, things that I should be aware of. And that's also important. So sometimes we need guidance and we need those indicators to help us understand what we don't see. And then once we see it, you can't unsee it. And it really informs how you operate and how you act thereafter.
Interesting. Yeah, interesting. Well, we're just about at 8 after. What say we get things started? Some brief introductions.
Yes.
Okay. Ladies first. So, Labrita, if you don't mind, who are you, Labrita?
All right, so I am a mother, a sister, a daughter, and I'm also managing partner of the Best Workplace. I am so excited to share my experience around human communication as well as organizational development and communication and be able to bridge those gaps so that people can work together, be better, have better relationships, and be well.
Neil. Thank you. Thank you,
Oh,
Labrita. Neil, who are you?
yes. Cornelius Neil Dowdell, please call me Neil. And so I'm also one of the managing partners for the Best Workplace as well. And so a background in human resources. I forget that I have that wonderful MBA. Every now and then I forget the investment and time I put into it as well. So I specialize in leadership development and also business development as well. And I'm happy to be here for us to have this conversation around the flow model.
Thank you, Neil. And my
Mhm.
name is Jonathan Berman. I'll also I'll go down my life resume a little bit here too. A son, a brother, a father, and managing partner of the Best Workplace. I guess my area of specialty is similar to Neil's. Neil and I cross over a lot. Is this idea of talent management, coaching, how we can get better at what we do on a day-to-day basis, which is really going to dovetail into this particular topic today, the topic of flow. And you know, let's tip our hats for a moment to Labrita for coming up with this really cool concept.
Mhm.
And Labrita, I'm going to attempt to summarize what flow is a little bit. So please correct me if I get any part of this wrong. But the whole idea of flow is it's a combination of things that we need to be not only our best selves, but also to create great workplaces. And it starts with this idea that first off, you need to be in the moment. You need to be truly present. And sometimes we miss out on that because we're on the treadmill all the time. We're running all the time. We're not taking the time to really practice focusing our attention. The other aspect to this is, learning applied. We don't oftentimes use the methods that we should for people to learn effectively. And I'll, I have my editorial opinion on some of that too. Then there's this idea of observation and reflection. We don't, again, we're on the treadmill. So oftentimes we don't devote time to say what worked, what didn't, and what should we do differently? How should we change course? And then finally, the W in flow is this idea of wondering, just exploring, continuously improving, being curious. Why is this happening? Why is this continuing to happen? What makes the best leaders? What makes the best women leaders? What makes the best, just continually asking these sort of questions. Again, I think modern living has the chips stacked against us being able to do all those elements of flow correctly. How did I do, Labrita?
Fantastic. Like seriously, fantastic. Because that's what it's about. It's about us getting into a place where we recognize where we are unconsciously pouring into the situation or the method at hand, being able to integrate work and life and not necessarily separate them.
Fantastic. So if I may, I'm going to share my screen and have us go through this systematically. And for Anitra and A. Morris.
Keithia, so can we hear from them? Who are y'all?
Yeah, who are y'all? That's what I wanted to.
Yeah, who are you?
Hello, I am a educator in Atlanta, Georgia. I'm a mother, a wife, a sister, and an aunt. And best friends to most of these ladies on this here broadcast.
Yes, we've been friends since before fourth grade. We go way back.
Wow.
Yes. Anitra, who are you? Anitra.
Looks like she's trying to. Her audio might be
again. I think Patrice dropped off.
Well, Anitra, can you hear us now?
So she might be able to hear us, but also probably not be able to participate and speak. So she can hear us.
Okay, good. Well, Anitra, if you are not able to speak and you're able to type, you could just let us know real briefly, who are you? Just a little bit about yourself. That would be great.
And the reason why this exercise, ladies, is so important is how we define ourselves is sometimes how we help others see us. And so we introduce ourselves to other people and how we talk about ourselves and how we see ourselves. And that is very important when we start thinking about the flow. We start thinking about what we focus our attention on. We start thinking about how we are able to connect with the world as well as each other. So Anitra, who are you?
And maybe while she's typing that, what I would like to do is, oh, there we go. Daughter, sister, friend, and change maker.
Yes.
Well, fantastic. Well, thank you. Thank you to both of you. And, throughout this talk, we would love to hear your ideas. So if ideas, questions, please feel free to stop us at any time. Feel free to, interrupt and assert and or type something in the chat whenever you do have a question. So I wanted to share with you first. Can everybody see my screen okay?
Yes.
So the goal here, and this again, hats off to Labrita for coming up with this idea and this model, is the reason why flow and these elements work is it accelerates learning. Putting these components into your life or your organization will accelerate the learning. And ultimately, why do we learn? To do things better, to behave differently. So we view learning, behavior change, we pretty much view them as the same thing. And Neil, I know you and I talk about that a lot. In your organizational work, do you see that those two things kind of bleeding into each other?
They do. It's a big overlap. And so you're learning, as you pointed out, because you want to change some type of behavior. So, and for the better.
Yeah, indeed. So one of the things we like to start all of our programs with, because of this flow model and because we do believe in it, is this idea that everything starts with a present. Everything starts with being present. That's what this first icon represents. My dad used to say they call it a present because the present is a gift that our Creator endowed upon us, that we are here at this particular moment. So let's be present. One of the best ways we can be present is if we silence these devices that have taken over our lives. All the studies show we lose about 2 hours of productivity every day because of constant interruptions, alerts, and distractions. And then finally, of course, we do have to realize the realities of biology. So if any time during this talk you do feel that you need to go, please go. This is not an exercise in kidney retention. So the objectives, what we want to talk about is just to elevate your awareness of the flow model, the what, the why, and some of the how. We do want to go through an exercise of focused attention. And we do want to at least provide a tool and some ideas on how you could achieve better results either in your life or organizational learning through using this flow model. So flow, what is it? What is it? Let's talk about this. So the first element of flow is this focused attention. Focused attention. And I think there's a lot of different ways that we can focus our attention, be more intentional. I'm sure we've all used that word and that concept in some way, shape, or form. And really what we're trying to get at here is being truly present involves being aware of all of your senses, being aware of your situation, the people that you're with. And let me just ask the group, just ask everybody there, what do you do to focus your attention? What are some things that you do to make sure that you're in the moment?
Anitra, what do you do?
I think I can unmute myself. Okay. To stay focused in the moment, depending on the situation, I love to jot notes or doodle to help me focus on the speaker. If I just need to focus on a task, I like complete silence. So if I could tune everything out, that's what I'm trying to do.
I love that. Love that.
What
Yeah,
about, yeah.
I was going to say, you and I share that particular component. I find it difficult to focus if there's a lot of noise around me. I just sometimes need that complete silence.
Oh, really? I'm the complete opposite. I will literally go to this, when I was in college, sit in the middle of the student union and do all of my work.
I like busyness too. I think
Yes.
I go in between being a turtle and also focusing in the midst of a Starbucksy, loungy environment where there's activity around. But I'm able to tune it out, but I like the energy. I like the energy of the people that are there. And I want to welcome Ramona. Hi, Ramona.
Hey,
Hello, good evening, everyone.
Hey, we're getting into the flow. And so the discussion is how do you focus yourself? How do you focus your attention? What works for you? What do you do?
Okay, actually, I was listening to you. It all depends on the topic, on the subject matter. If it's something that requires just focusing my undivided attention, then I don't want any external, anything that can distract me. But if it's something that I can quote unquote multitask, do this and, can listen and focus and I kind of know what I'm doing, then so I guess I kind of flow from one form to the next. depending on the subject matter, because there are some things that you just must be totally engaged in, or you will miss a step, which I've done that many times, but yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you for that, Ramona. Appreciate it. Want to talk about the second component to flow, this, learning applied to work and life. And, this is largely, we're all learning professionals here. This is largely associated with what we already know about how people learn. And it's this idea of the awareness of, okay, what do I need to learn? Its strengths, weaknesses, and so on. And then what are the tactics associated with that? And then how can I reinforce that? And we'll get into this in a little bit more depth. And then this idea that, for these two things to be effective, for the F and the L of flow to be effective, at some point you need some element of observation and reflection. Okay, so what did we just experience here? We just experienced a very lively social discussion on focused attention, learning applied. Okay, so how did we do with that? What could we do differently? How could we optimize? So a lot of us know this through continuous improvement. And then finally, something that this is, my personal favorite topic, this idea of wonder and curiosity. Some would say it's being a child again. It's being amazed by even the simple things. It's instead of being judgmental, instead of being judgy, you're wrong because of this, instead of that orientation, instead saying, I wonder why that is. I wonder why that is. It's interesting that somebody would do that. I wonder why. So this, of course, loops back into sometimes being the focused attention, the L and the O. And so we view this very much as cyclical. So just want to talk a little bit about focused attention, and we can go through a very quick exercise on this. I'm pretty sure all of you have had some mindfulness meditation experience. So if somebody wouldn't mind sharing whether or not they do mindfulness, meditation, yoga, love to hear what it is that you do.
About our PQ reps.
PQ reps. What is that, Neil?
And so last year we had the experience of going through a positive intelligence coaching program. So Jonathan Reed and myself went through, and one of those techniques that they took us was to positive intelligence reps, whereas you take 2 minutes and you focus on the ridges on your finger and you rub them together firmly until you can focus and feel those ridges. And you do that for 2 minutes. And it's that focused attention for that 2 minutes that helps create those neural pathways and something like that, because you're literally focused and you're really looking at calming down for those 2 minutes. So it's 2 minutes and you can focus, you can stare. I think we did a staring activity as well, as you look at the computer screen until you can see the pixels. And that you're that focused on something like that, you're redirecting your mindset to be that focused just for 2 minutes. In that 2 minutes, you're able to reset your whole emotional and body language and things so that you can move forward and be clear in that thought process. Did I explain that properly, Jonathan?
Yes, I think you did. And for me, the problem with adult learning professionals and professionals like we are, we work in education. All of us are educators. We know how to teach other people, but being able to redirect ourselves. So the hardest thing for me were linguistic tasks, because I could hear words that would just pop up in my mind. It was a harder task for me to just only focus on a vision or to focus on an auditory sound, because my saboteurs or the things that would pop up would be words that would be matched to that moment that would distract me from being fully present. So that was the hardest task for me, to say that I'm going to focus my attention and visualize on somebody's car tag. I want to see every aspect on the bumper of their car and not judge the car, not come up with labels about the car or describe the car or wonder about like where they get the car, you know? So that was really hard for me because linguistically, that's a strength. And as educators, we started thinking about what we're going to fix. And for me, being able to say that the fix is in the moment, for me to just do that, and that's good enough. So the good enough was the part that was the hardest for me in all of the PQ reps. So let's hear from y'all. So Anitra, Patrice, we heard from you, Anitra. Patrice, what do you do to challenge yourself to have those mindfulness moments? We see your mic is off. Okay.
Yeah. If you feel free to use the chat too, folks. So if you don't want to speak up, that's totally cool. Now, Ramona, you look like you had something you were going to say.
Okay. I don't know if I'm doing this correctly, but it does work. You know, sometimes I have issues with my blood pressure. And so I'll I'll do the reading and then it's like, oh my God, what is this? You know. So I haven't done in-depth trying to figure out how to do it, but I've seen some tapping where you tap your forehead. And so I'm there, closing my eyes. I'm tapping my forehead and I'm thinking, then they say to tap here and you're really focusing. So I started doing that. And then I've noticed that when I do right below my nose, right here, it feels very cool, very calm. I can feel myself becoming a little bit, you know, calm because that's all I'm focusing on. I had to stop telling myself this is really stupid, because I said, well, okay, well, let me just try it. And I kept doing it like this and then like this. And then I remember they say all of those points like this, and then I wait and I would take the reading again. And it was a miracle. It had just gone down. I had just stayed in the moment of breathing and focusing and everything. So that's something that I've done, that I find myself doing even when I'm getting like really antsy about something. I start just kind of
That's
tapping.
Thank you so much, Ramona. That dovetails perfectly into this particular slide. That focused attention, for most of us to create an environment where we're able to focus, it's either going to be done through breathing, and this is your typical meditation sort of exercise where you're going to do box breathing. We'll do a box breathing exercise in a moment, or some sort of bodily repetition. And what you're talking about, Ramona, is, sometimes there's like EMDR, there's all these techniques for, making us more aware of our senses. Sometimes we do this visually, sometimes we do this auditorily. Sometimes, in other parts of the world, they do smell sensing. Labrita, you had talked about this before, the idea of taking in different aromas and just being aware of the nuances of the aromas. Exercising the senses is a big part of focused attention. It's something we don't do enough of. Now, one of the theories here is once you get yourself into that more focused state, whether or not you're doing the tapping, the breathing, the mind's going to wander. The mind's going to wander. It's going to happen. Even the best meditators in the world. I've been meditating for 20 years and my mind will still become untethered. So this is where the control comes in. And the control comes in by you identifying that you're wandering. Oh, geez, I'm wandering. I'm worrying about the laundry. Before I came into this program this evening, I was worried about the laundry. So I had to very quickly recalibrate and be like, all right, it's still going to be there. I just identified that my mind was wandering. So that's control. It's okay. Because as you can see, for you to effectively redirect, you manage your self-talk. You say, oh, I'm worrying about the laundry. I should be present. You know what? I've got these great people in front of me. I need to forgive myself. It's okay. I'm human. My mind will wander. Now let me get back to my focused breathing again, or my tapping, or my sensory work, my smell work, my PQ reps, whatever it may take. So what I would like us to do, just so we can focus our attention right now in this moment of togetherness that we have, let's try some box breathing. Let's try some box breathing. A great way to bring yourself in and focus on at least your breathing. This is something that I do minimum 5 minutes every day. So first off, make sure you're comfortable. Make sure you're comfortable. And box breathing really is very simple exercise. It's a great way to reduce your blood pressure. It's been clinically proven to reduce your blood pressure. It also helps you get to sleep at night. So if your mind is racing and you want to find a technique just to get yourself centered again, to reduce your blood pressure, box breathing. So how box breathing works, just imagine a box. On one side, you're going to breathe in for a slow count of 4. Then you're going to hold your breath for a slow count of 4. Then you're going to exhale for a slow count of 4. And then you're going to leave your lungs empty for a slow count of 4. So just to review, slow breathe in for a count of 4. Hold your breath for a count of 4. Exhale for a count of 4. Lungs empty for a count of 4. Everybody ready? I'll count backwards from 4. And once we do that, we'll breathe in for a slow count of 4. Okay. 4, 3, 2, 1. Breathe in. 3, 4. Hold your breath. 1, 2, 3. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Lungs empty. 2, 3, 4. Breathe in. Hold your breath. 3. Exhale. Lungs empty. 2, 3, 4. One more time. Breathe in. Hold your breath. Exhale. Lungs empty. How are we feeling?
I
CB,
noticed a little. Go ahead, Ramona.
a little CB, not CBD, but CB me. So you know what's the beauty in this? It was the lungs emptiness. The concept of emptiness, that we don't have to always be full. Seriously, it was the emptiness for me that was amazing. And so let's kind of go around. Like literally, my brain right now, I'm feeling it. So what did you experience? I know Patrice can't, I don't know, Patrice, okay, I like the breathing in and feeling up with the air. We can't hear you. I don't know what's going on with your mic.
I was going to share, for me, the first time I did not get it right. I had to become focused. So in order for me to exhale and allow my lungs to be empty, I had to ensure that I inhaled enough air to sustain me. And then that exhale was, my emptiness was an extension of the exhale, but I was done. I didn't feel a need to, I'm running out of breath.
Yes.
So I like it.
Oh, thank you so much for sharing that. it takes a little while to get comfortable with box breathing. Okay. All of us have different lung capabilities. And one thing I will tell you, because you may have noticed these instruments in the back, I also sing. And boy, box breathing has really helped me with singing. It's really helped my lung capability. And here's the hidden bonus of doing something like box breathing, meditation, and so on is now this is going to sound kind of nerdy because it is, but there's a part of your brain called the nucleus accumbens. And the nucleus accumbens is the mechanism for focused attention. When you do something like box breathing, when you do something like meditation, the more you do that, the greater your capability to maintain focus. You can maintain focus longer. And this is something that I've noticed in myself. When I don't do my box breathing, when I come up with an excuse for not devoting 5 minutes to my mental health, I notice that I can't maintain attention as well. I end up going down YouTube rabbit holes.
YouTube.
So I have a question. So when you do your box breathing, is it a part of your everyday routine, or do you have pop-ups? Do you have breathing pop-ups when you are in a stressful or a pressure situation and you know that is the intervention that's needed at that moment?
Yes, to both.
Okay.
I do box breathing on a regular minimum 5 minutes a day. I typically put myself into my office down here and just close the door. Now I also do meditation practice. I had a friend of mine who's a Buddhist monk who introduced me to some meditation practices. Anybody that wants to get into meditation, there's great apps out there. There's all kinds of great apps. So I wouldn't necessarily endorse one. But if you are curious, feel free to shoot us an email and I could certainly recommend one of them. A very simple meditation practice to increase your focus. As you're doing box breathing, close your eyes and just imagine a blue triangle. Imagine a blue triangle. Turn that blue triangle into a blue pyramid and start shifting it around in your mind so you can see underneath it. You can spin it in a 3-dimensional way. It's trippy.
Yeah, because I was about to call you out on that. I was like, wait.
Don't do it standing up.
In the pyramid triangle.
Oh yeah, no.
Don't do it standing up. I'm standing right
when
now.
you're driving,
I was with you.
Not when you're on 285.
I was there, and I was like, wait.
Yes, it is trippy, and I will tell you, it's incredible how much it increases your ability to focus. And you only need to. We're not talking 20 minutes. We're not talking about lighting incense and Buddha. We're not talking about any of that, right? I'm just talking like 5 minutes a day. Start off with just maybe 2 minutes. Start off with 2 minutes. Just increase it to 5. You will find your ability to maintain your cool. I mean, a part of this is emotional intelligence too. Really is enhanced, incredibly enhanced. I mean, Labrita and Neil know me well enough now. I don't lose my temper anymore. It doesn't happen.
I've never seen Jonathan lose his temper, and I try my best to see about getting on his nerves.
Yeah,
we try.
We
try. Y'all don't understand.
They have tried.
I'm real difficult, y'all, to work with at times, and he just maintains a cool tempo the whole time. I'm just like, oh, okay.
Well, and I would say that, and Jonathan also is big into improv. So he doesn't know what the crowd is going to be like at any given point in time. The situation is going to be like from time to time. So he is always aware of the environment, reading the context, and being able to adjust himself to whatever the situational demands are. And that's, I think, definitely attributed to your ability to be able to focus in and determine what's needed in any point in time.
Yeah, absolutely. When you're on stage, when you're on stage and you've got lights on you and you've got scene partners and they're just like, okay, guess what? You are a linguine noodle at a shopping store. So how are you going to react? You can't stop to think, okay, well, just give me a couple minutes. You need to be there. You need to be in that moment.
I need to be the linguine noodle, right?
You need to.
Spiraling around in the boiling water. Got you.
So I wanted to go through the rest of this model here. So what we're maintaining here, folks, is for you to really get into the flow of learning and behavior change. The first step is this focused attention. Now, the next step, we probably don't need to go into too much detail because you all are learners here. You all are professional L&D folks. This is learning applied. And you all, I'm sure, are familiar with some elements of this. First one, of course, the awareness of what am I good at, not good at? What's my plan for getting better? What's my goal? Sometimes we have development plans that we work with our clients. And then this idea of practice. So what are the things that we're doing? And it could be like, Neil could be coaching a client individually, a one-on-one. It could be Librita doing a workshop on wellness, any one of these things. And then, of course, the reinforcement. And this we all know through accountability methods, feedback, the feedback loop. How are we going to get better and better? And I am very nerdy about this kind of stuff. I love Bloom's taxonomy. So Bloom's taxonomy is, from my perspective, the architecture for learning applied. How to get people to not just absorb, but to make it a part of who they are. Yeah, Neil showing off his Bloom's.
It stays around somewhere hung on a wall.
Yes. So quick, I would love to hear from you all. How have you applied any of this in your life or your profession?
I'm on my meeting, baby. Yes.
Librita is managing life right now. So love to hear from you all. How have you used any of these things in either your personal life or your professional life?
Is my microphone working?
It is.
It is.
Nice to hear.
Finally,
Yes.
Welcome.
I went on to like several different devices. So, and what was the specific question? Because now I'm excited that my microphone is working. I
Oh,
forgot.
it's all good. Yeah. So how have you used any of these in your personal or professional life?
I have been in school counseling for 22 years, and Dr. Librita Cash Basket has been a champion for using these specific goals. I don't know if maybe she took a class and she used it on me, but I remember I was going enraged into a meeting where I was dealing with a difficult parent, and the child was out of sorts, out of control because the parent was not compliant. And I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm just frustrated. And she said, Patrice, I want you to go into that meeting and focus on your goal. And for 22 years, I have used this model. And I don't know if maybe she learned this at Hampton University. She's gone to all these elite schools. But I use this model in every aspect of my job because you come in, students are here, they're very high, emotional. You have to think about what is the end goal. And when you do that, you're able to get to the actual practice and the reinforcement. I mean, parents come in, they're frustrated, they're angry. But when we get to now, let's figure out what it is that you're truly wanting. I want my child to go life beyond high school. I need them to be successful. I love my child, but it comes across as, I don't know why he's not doing his work. He's lazy. I'm frustrated. I'm angry. Or the student will say, nobody cares. My parents fuss at me all the time. So focusing on the awareness of the goal has gotten me through 22 years of Dr. Laprita Cash Basket saying to me before going in to that meeting as a young person, 22 years, we were both young. She's old now. I'm still young. But what is the goal? So it totally works. Awareness, practice, reinforcement.
Thank you, Patrice. And you know, I got to give credit here to you know, Labrita, first off, for it sounds like she's just been a wonderful partner with you, really helpful. And also, Neil, I know this is an area, you know, when you focus on coaching, you're always trying to bring it back to, well, what's your goal? Right? People often get
Yes,
distracted by the tactics, like, how am I going to change? It's just like, well, wait, what is it that you want to do differently?
right. So again, a lot of people in coaching, they are looking at the big picture and all of the details, the how, but then so they lose the focus on the actual goal. What is the end? What's the end goal? So putting in a sense of business. So if you have a revenue target and you're targeting the revenue goal, say it's 200,000. And so some people get lost on the smaller things about, oh, I need to build out marketing. Oh, I need to do this. I need a website. And so, but the key thing, you're doing all of that non-revenue generating activity, but the goal is still the same, 200,000. And I'm going to turn around and ask, so are you meeting with potential clients? And you're going to put in, I hear this all the time. I've been working on my marketing strategy. Well, if you're working on your marketing strategy, but you're not meeting with potential clients, then how are you going to reach the goal? So it's all about refocusing, reprioritization. And so I myself, as one of the managing partners for the Best Workplace, find myself doing that at times. I have to pull out my PQ reps and refocus on a lot of things because being a business owner and just being an entrepreneur in general, a lot of hats that you have to wear, that you have to keep in mind that yes, you still have to make time to speak to your customer.
Yeah.
That's why you're there.
And
So go ahead.
yeah. And I appreciate you kind of grounding this in sometimes we need to get off the treadmill and refocus because that's part of the problem. And, you know, Patrice, what I heard from that too is, you know, parents, of course, they want their children to succeed. And sometimes their passion for that exceeds their ability to come up with a plan on how to help their child to succeed. In other words, we get so emotionally involved.
Mm-hmm.
And emotions, keep in mind, emotions sometimes are contrary to thinking. Sometimes you can't think rationally when you're emotionally engaged. When you're arguing with a teenager, I think something we
My
can all
solution to
identify.
that is I have crossword puzzles and word finds. Just
Yeah.
to like 5 minutes, just go and do a crossword puzzle when I'm stressed. It's like it literally redirects my entire focus point, and then I go back. I just got a new set of crossword puzzles in the mail, so I'm excited.
Crosswords for me, sometimes playing instruments, that my whole
Sudoku.
world, you know, all my troubles melt away. But, you know, that's the only way I could objectively come up with a goal or a plan with a client. If they're on that treadmill, yeah, but I need to do stuff. Hold on. You know, my father was a colonel in the army, and he had this saying, before you fire the missiles, make sure they are aimed at the target appropriately because it's really, really destructive if you aim a missile at the target that was not intended. You're going to do way more damage and you're going to waste a lot of time and money by not doing that. Yeah. So playing games on your phone when you're stressed. Yeah. Some people do that. So I want to move on to this next component, observation and reflective action. This comes in a lot of different flavors. So some companies do what's called an after action review. And this is, okay, so we just focused our attention on this marketing challenge. We just came up with the plan, the awareness of a plan. We practiced. So we went forward and executed on that plan, and we're reinforcing it through getting feedback from the customer. Well, hold on here. What was the original plan and goal? Are we actually accomplishing what we meant to? Now, what actually happened? What was accomplished? What have we learned, and what will we do going forward? This is typical after action review. If there's any military folk in the audience here, you all know this. This is something that they do in all the armed forces. They do after action reviews as standard practice. Also, something that they implement in the military is what's called an OODA loop. An OODA loop. And let me just put this in the chat because I realized this is something we didn't label on the slide. OODA loop. And an OODA loop, it's a fairly simple concept, but it's methodically observing, orienting, adjusting per the conditions, proposing new solutions or methods or measures, and then implementing that solution. Some of you in healthcare might know this as PDCA, Plan, Do, Check, Act. There's different versions of this. Some companies have Lean Six Sigma, where this is just part of their operations on an ongoing basis. Now, I wanted to get to the final concept here. So again, you focused your attention, you've got your learning applied. So you have this method. Now you're observing, you're reflecting. Okay, did this work? Did this hit the target? Did this not? Okay, now how can we maintain this spirit of continuous improvement? How can we continually be curious? And, as children, wonder kind of comes easy. I wonder why the clouds why is the sky blue? Right? I remember Josh, my son, asking me, why is the sun blue? And I was just like, wait, why is it blue? Because he's just like, Dad, I've seen pictures of space and it's black. So why is the sky blue? I'm like, that's a really good question.
There's an answer to that.
Yeah. So let's save that for after 7 o'clock. But I would love for you all take a look at all these different curiosity types. I would love for you all to identify what is your primary curiosity type, and feel free to plop it in the chat. I would love to hear, because I will tell you, mine, one that drives me. So I just put in the chat the one that really drives my curiosity the most. You're on mute, Labrita.
I know mine. It's probably better. I would have interjected it a long time ago.
Okay, so we got Patrice, overt social curiosity. Oh, you're a thrill seeking. I'm plunging head first. I love the excitement
what is it?
So you're the type that when you see a roller coaster, you're just like, I'm just gonna do it.
Until I get in the roller coaster. That's how I am with hot air balloons. I love the idea of heights until I get in them. Yeah. And I keep thinking maybe there's a height that I haven't met yet that is the best. But the reality is, girl, you are afraid of heights, but I'm not afraid of heights. I just feel like I haven't interacted with heights in a way that matches with my comfort level.
To piggyback on that, I went to the Grand Canyon, what was it, last year? And I thought I was going to die when my son was walking around the skywalk. I just knew he was going to be a gust of wind was going to take him. But then we went down in a helicopter at the very bottom of the canyon, but I felt secure. I don't know I guess maybe being in the enclosed space and having on my seatbelt and safety harness. I felt more secure, but it was this more height actually, because now you're in a helicopter going straight down as opposed to just walking around the skywalk. But the skywalk was sheer death for me, but the helicopter was safe. I don't know.
The
Yeah,
thing, I signed up to go tour waterfalls in the Dominican Republic. I was cool as long as I thought I was just watching the waterfall, not realizing that I have to swim my way out of it. But I like the thrill, and once I'm there, I have to deal with the reality of it, but it's the thrill seeking. So I think that's my curiosity behavior.
In the chat, I got some fellow stress tolerance people like myself. Anitra.
So you just like, for you, it's just like, okay, all right, I'm curious and I'm cool. Curious and cool.
Doesn't that describe me though? That's cool all the way through.
Well, in some ways, then that makes sense, Neil, why we get along, because my thing is I'm curious about things. There's a drive for me to solve the problem or figure it out or learn. I literally can't go to sleep at night sometimes, even when I do my box breathing. I literally sometimes can't go to sleep until I solve a problem or I get things done.
You should just call me because I don't sleep at all.
So,
Ramona, what are you?
Well, I indicated that I was the overt social, and I'm not quite sure. I think I'm an eclectic kind of person. I like to talk and I like to observe. I like to ask questions. I want to, know, well, why did you say that? And how did you come to that? And, so that kind of, just doing that sort of thing. I know I'm not the thrill seeker. I want to be, but I don't like roller coasters. I have done that, but then I decided I didn't need that. I don't need all of that, I really don't need all of that about a roller coaster or any of that, so, but I think I am the social curiosity because I do ask a lot of questions to the point that, I've had people say, well, what is this? Why are you an investigator? I say, I just want to know, just ask. And that's the best way instead of my trying to figure you out, and maybe coming to, a conclusion that's not accurate. I could just talk to you and you could share some things and I could share some things and we could be transparent on some of this, but I know that it only works in a environment where you feel comfortable and you can trust, the person, because being overt social, the curiosity, it can come off as being quite, nosy, invasive,
All in my business.
so all up in my business. Got to put the up in there. All up in my business.
Ramona, I appreciate what you said on so many different levels, because I think that's my secondary one. My primary one is I just got to know, and my secondary one is I view individuals like a Rubik's cube. Like, I'm just so curious. Like, what drives you? What got you here? What do you love to do? What do you not love to do? I just want to find out more about you.
What if the person is really simple?
There's no such thing. I'm convinced that no one is simple.
Let's unpack that a little bit because
let's
that
unpack that at the
let's unpack that
at the next session though. We have to unpack
okay,
that.
I want to
be mindful that it is this evening and we are at 7 o'clock. Is the time we actually told everyone we end, and I know people been there for a long day. And so, but you have definitely go into Q&A, but I think that is a good conversation to continue to have. And we can definitely schedule some time for that as well. So, Jonathan, was there anything else you wanted to share from the slides?
Yeah. So one thing I did want to share with share with everybody, and pardon me here, I just realized
while you were getting your slides up, I want to acknowledge TOB. We haven't heard from you. Wanted to welcome you and to kind of hear your perspectives as well. Feel free to jump in.
Well, thank you. I certainly appreciate that. I apologize for being a little silent. I have a gym injury I should have an ibuprofen right now, but I'm fighting through because I'm not really a pill popper. But
Oh, look, let's get some box breathing together right now. You know, that could really
oh
help.
yes,
Yes.
I've already
Mhm.
I did join for that, and I also did hear the comment. I think it was about the breathing part. It was a part that actually made sense. I think it was the empty. I think we had a little discussion about the empty part.
Yeah.
And
Emptying out your lungs.
exactly. And for me, just based off the whole aspect of this breathing, for me, the emptiness was letting go of everything else that didn't matter. Just
Mm,
freeing myself up from all of that, emptying
mm.
myself of the things that's not most
Yeah.
beneficial.
Yeah. Thank
It's,
you,
it's like
Tia,
cleansing.
I
Cheers.
love that
Great word for
analogy,
us.
the emptiness, the cleansing, the aspect that for us to really be effective, not only learners, but facilitators of learners, we need to help people kind of clear their heads. We need folks to get to the space where they're not worried about their laundry upstairs, where they're not worried about, all the other commitments that they have. They call it a present for a reason, because it is a gift. This gift that we have right now, my dad had another expression that the past is gone, the future doesn't exist. All we have is now. So that's the critical first step. And then we can get to the learning application again, also exploring the other components of the flow model. That said, I want to end on a gift to you all, and that is a worksheet, flow worksheet I put into the chat. So please, folks, feel free to use that. Please feel free to reach out to us, because we have a lot more content on this. We can't possibly cover all this in 1 hour. So we would love to talk to you more, talk to any of your organizations, your partner organizations about this particular topic, how we can bring this stuff to life. Yeah.
And we can do all of that. You will see, you're going to see, you will all get CEUs for those who are maintaining any of those professional certifications. And so you'll get an email shortly, probably in the next couple of days, that will have the CEUs that you can use to apply towards those certifications to maintain, whether it's SHRM, ATD, or project management. It should be good for any governing body that accepts CEUs. In addition to that, another offer is if you want to bring or have this in your organization, you get up to 20% for that first workshop as well. So definitely feel free to reach out on that end. And we're here. We're here to be that learning partner, to have this conversation. There's plenty more to come. And so we're going to take a deeper dive into curiosity, since Jonathan has opened up the door for that, because I believe our next webinar is actually around curiosity.
I'm curious. And so I wanted to say, we have a lot of learners in the K through 12 space here. And I'm so grateful that my friends have also joined in the community of learning, and not just adult learning, but how we take this and apply this when we start thinking about self-regulation skills, when we start thinking about redirecting behavior, when we start thinking about interacting compassionately with our parents, managing up, managing down, with our administrators, with the community, managing our teachers, being able to take this simple concept of box breathing, curiosity, really diving deeply into how we move and act, take this from the virtual space into our workspaces, into our classrooms, and to reset and to give ourselves a check, even if it's 5 minutes. We have a lunchtime, take it. And so when we take that lunch, you might be out to lunch, you may not necessarily be eating physical food, but you will be nourishing yourself by applying these concepts and us growing together when we need to be able to find a different path for something when what we're doing right now may not be working. So I'm grateful. Thank you for being here, and let us know definitely how we can support you and what you think, because I can't wait to unpack the curiosity of the simple person or these other topics that have emerged just in our conversation tonight. So thank you.
Be on the
have
lookout.
a-
We'll be, go ahead, Ramona, go ahead.
Okay, I have a question. Did we start at 7 or was it 7:30? Because my information had both times, but it did say 7. It said, I'm sorry, 6:30 to 7:30.
Oh.
Or was it 6 to 7? So I don't want to be late the next time.
It'll be 6 to 7. It's from 6 to 7, but we'll make sure that those things, we're about to migrate from Eventbrite over into LinkedIn events as well. So all the times and dates will be updated there. But
Okay.
these right here are an hour, I believe. And so, but it seems as though we might need that additional 30 minutes for dialogue as we continue to increase. So we'll look at and have those days as well. And then some of these will probably be done during the workday as well for like a lunch and learn style too. So we'll have some options for everyone going forward.
All right. Well, thank you so much. And please, folks, let's exercise curiosity. Any additional questions that you have, please feel free to shoot out to us at hello@thebestworkplace.com. And we're open to the conversation and certainly open to bringing these concepts to your organizations, your client organizations, any way that we can.
Amazing.
All right. Well, thank you, folks.
Thank
Have a
y'all.
good
Thank you.
evening. Enjoy your